There we go. Thank you so much. Okay, so for the people watching this recording, we were just saying that utility bills have gone up a lot. I'm sure you've noticed. This is in Somerville, you're probably paying Eversource, National Grid, or both for your heating and electricity. And the first thing I want to say is that Massachusetts has a law that if you communicate to your utility company that you're going to have trouble paying the bills, they can't turn your heat off until March 16th. Okay. Sorry, I'm just trying to look at my notes at the same time. Technology. So March 16th right now is the earliest they would be allowed to turn off your heat. And even after that, there's other restrictions on utility shutoffs that we have talked about before in a November meeting, but we'll share that information with you again in a follow-up email. So I just want to provide a little bit of reassurance, first of all. Next slide, please. So that being said, even if you have told your utility company that you're having some financial struggles and you can't pay everything right now, and they can't turn it off until March 16th, you should still try to pay as much as you can. Are you able to go to the next slide, Isabel? Oh, thank you. Okay. So, yeah, pay what you can and contact them soon, because if you just wait, right, because obviously it's can be very overwhelming, but if you just wait, that's just going to pile up, and then they might try to shut off your utilities once, or your heat once the moratorium is over, like March 16th. So it's important to get help now, and so we have a few options for resources to share with you. So can you go to the next slide? The first resource is called, it has a weird name. It's an acronym. It's called LIHEAP, if you haven't seen it before. It stands for this whole name, but the short version is fuel assistance. Okay. And I have that translation in Spanish and Portuguese here as well. So LIHEAP. I highly recommend looking into this if you have not already. This is a program that Massachusetts funds, and you can access it through the city of Cambridge. Actually, they are the ones for Somerville residents to contact about this. And it's for help paying your winter heating bills between November 1st and April 30th, whether those are through Eversource or National Grid. You should know that a lot of people who were eligible last year, like the vast majority of people, didn't know they were eligible and they didn't apply. So please apply, even if you're not sure. You'll see this chart on the slide here. This is the one in English, but we have some more in other languages. If it's just you paying all your bills, it says right here, your maximum income can be about $42,400. Anything below that, you will qualify. If it's you and a child, or you and a partner, or you share your bills with somebody else, you live with somebody else, then between the two of you, you can have up to, $55,460. That's the next amount. So we'll send these to you so that you can take a look. But that just gives you an idea of who would qualify. Can you go to the next slide? So there's the Spanish chart, the chart in Spanish, we will send that to you. And the next one is the chart in Portuguese, which we will also send out so that you can have a good idea if you qualify or not. Next slide, please. Something I want everyone to know is that you do not have to be a citizen of the US to receive this benefit. However, unfortunately, just like with food stamps, you do need at least one person in your household to have some sort of legal immigration status. But if you're not sure, whether or not your household qualifies, you should still apply. Can you go to the next slide, please? And just so you know, it might take them, a few weeks the 6 weeks, I don't know, to process your application. But as soon as you're approved, Eversource or National Grid will be informed, and the money will go to your account. So for example, if your home qualifies for $1,000 in fuel assistance, and say your monthly bill for heating is $250, that would cover about 4 months for you. Are you able to go to the next slide? I think Isabel might be having tech troubles. Thanks for bearing with us, everybody. Oh, thank you. Perfect. So there's a couple ways you can apply. One is online. This is a picture of the website through the City of Cambridge. That's the website below, cambridgema.gov/fuel assistance. And you'll see in the top right, I hope it's not too hard to see, it says translate. That's where you can select your language. But if that feels like too much, you can also just call this number here, and you can make an appointment and apply that way. So can you go to the next slide? Regardless of how you apply, these are some of the documents you're going to need. It's a photo ID, proof of income, a document that proves your tenancy. So that means if you have a lease, a copy of your lease. If you don't have a lease, maybe it's a letter from your landlord that says that you live there. And lastly, your bill, your heating bill from Eversource or National Grid. So I hope that gives you a decent idea of fuel assistance to start. The next type of assistance that we want to let you know about, it's actually a lower rate for your utilities. This should apply to electricity and heat, and you can get it either through Eversource or National Grid. This is a picture of the application that Eversource has. We will send this to you in the follow-up email. But essentially, if you qualify for the program I talked about before, LIHEAP, fuel assistance, or if you qualify for food stamps, Social Security income, you should also qualify for this. So this would be in addition to the fuel assistance, okay? You would get a lower rate every month. And the application, so that's, like I said, that's a picture of the Eversource application. The National Grid application is online, and we can send you a picture of that as well. Something to keep in mind is that if you are behind on your payments, if you owe money, and then you apply for that lower rate, your utility company, Eversource or National Grid, they might actually apply that lower rate to the months that you already owe. So that can really help, even for the months you already owe. Okay, and now there's this question of who supplies your electricity, okay? Because this can have a big impact on how much you're paying, on how high your bill is. So this is a picture of a bill from Eversource, and where this red box is, it says supplier. And then this bill, for example, says Direct Energy City of Somerville. So this person gets their electricity from the city of Somerville, which is great. We actually think that's a really good option. They have a pretty stable, comparatively low price. But you might have, your bill might not say City of Somerville. Your bill might say Eversource, which is pretty normal, but they're not the cheapest right now. Or if you go to the next slide, Isabel, your bill might have another name. It might say like Clean Choice Energy or Constellation or one of these. There's many options, and these are called competitive supply companies. We talked about these in November. Sometimes it's cheaper for a little bit. They try to go door to door, call you, send you the mail. But a lot of times it's more expensive for people in the long run, and they don't even realize. And these companies, a lot of them have done some pretty bad things, like signing people up when they didn't ask to be signed up. So you want to take a look at your bill and see who your supplier is, because you can change it. Can you go to the next slide? And you can actually go to this website. I know it might be a little small, but we'll send you this link, and it shows you the different costs for all the different companies. So you can compare, is this one actually cheaper? You know, and there's little notes about like, oh, this is cheaper just for new customers, or things like that. So this is a really good website. And we're going to share that with all of you afterwards. And if you can go to the next slide, please. Like I mentioned, one of the places you can get your electricity from is the city of Somerville. That a lot of people are automatically enrolled, which is good. But if you're not already enrolled, you can call this number to switch over. And it's possible you will be getting a lower rate. You would need to look at that website. But yeah, let us know if you have questions about that. It's pretty easy. You just need your Eversource account, and we can send you the website as well. So that's another thing to look into that can impact the price of your electricity. So if you owe money, right, for electricity or heat, Eversource, National Grid, even if you don't qualify for fuel assistance or the discounted rates, you can still potentially get a payment plan with them or get an extension. You really just need to call them though. These are the phone numbers, one for Eversource, and then for National Grid, there's two numbers, one if you have electricity through them, one if you have gas through them. And yeah, like we said at the beginning, as soon as you realize you cannot make your full payment, contact them, and that will help prevent shutoffs of your utilities. So there's different types of payment plans you can, actually, can you go back one slide? Different types of payment plans you can ask about. One I want to tell you about is debt forgiveness. So this is, I think, relatively new, but actually it's a program, if you qualify, they will erase some of your previous debt if you can start making payments on time. And maybe, you know, if you get the discount rate and the fuel assistance, that will allow you to make the payments on time. So that can be really helpful, especially if you owe a lot of money. In Eversource, the program is called New Start. And through National Grid, it's just called Forgiveness Program. So we'll also send you information on how to apply to that. Okay, next slide, please. And finally, if you don't qualify for fuel assistance, the first one I talked about with that weird name, LIHEAP, then you can apply for this. This is the Massachusetts Good Neighbor Energy Fund. The Salvation Army, that organization actually administers it. And it's for people who are temporarily struggling to pay their utility bills, but might not be low enough income for the other programs. How to apply? I had to look into this because it was very confusing. This is the phone number, okay, for the Cambridge Salvation Army. They also will serve Somerville. And when you call this phone number, you press the number 3 and you will speak with Julie. If you don't speak English, you need to have an interpreter because she only speaks English. So that's not very helpful. But just so you know. And yeah, so you'll talk to Julie, set up an appointment with her, bring your ID, your pay stubs. She'll tell you what to bring, your gas bill, and then you go meet for an appointment. This is a picture of the income chart. So if you're one person in your household, this is the range of yearly income you can have, 42,000 to 56,000 approximately, right? So if you're in that range, you know, or if you're a size of 2, 55 to 73,000 per year. If you're in that range, this program might be able to help you. So I think that's all I have.
So now this part of our meeting, I am gonna transfer to our leader, one of our leaders here of the Renters Committee, Yolanda. She is not only a leader here in the with CAAS, with the Renters Committee, but she's a leader in the Padres Latinos, with East Somerville School, the Somerville Public School District. But I don't want to share her story. We're gonna hear from her, and I'm excited to introduce her. So Yolanda, the microphone is yours now.
Gracias, Denise. Gracias.
Thank you, Denise. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I know that some of you know me. My name is Yolanda Montiel. I am a member of the committee of Somerville Renters. I've been here for a little while, for 14 years. I feel very happy. And today I just want to share a little bit and just tell you a little bit about the Renters Committee. Let me tell you, like Denise and Marla and some other people, they're people that have gone through the same things, and we have passed by the situations of like evictions, like any of the family. The experience that we had with the Renters Committee was born in the middle of the pandemic. What it caused me to be a part of this is that at that time, I was trying to get in contact with people that I knew. And I got in contact with somebody that worked with CAAS. They called me, they asked me questions, they asked me if I wanted to be a part of this committee, and I said yes. In the beginning, it was like really hard for me to be part of the meetings, but little by little, I was kind of like seeing how important it is to learn, because we all learn. And and how important it is for us to pay attention to the things that are happening on your community. What I call this renters meeting is like this group of people that it's helping us to navigate the problems that we go through, like the immigration community, the situations with the evictions, with the raising of the rents. And I would like for you tonight, I don't know, just to tell us if you have questions, if you have any questions, if you have any doubts. So you can do this question, you can make these questions, because this is what we do these meetings. As Denise said, I also belong to the Latino parents. I also collaborate. We work with the families in Somerville. It was also born within the pandemic. And we try to support families with different programs for the children, like after school programs. I am a volunteer for this group too. And I was in a meeting and I was saying the importance of participating in the meetings, like so that you can express our voices, like so we can share the situations that we're going through. It is very important for us to share the problems that we are going through. With it right now is housing. It's very important for all of us to speak freely, not to be afraid. And another thing that I wanted to share is like, I have lost that fear of sharing the issues that I go through. Like sometimes you go through a lot of stuff and you are afraid to like share it with other people. We are afraid to say, I'm going through this situation. And when we don't talk about it, when we talk about it, we are like encouraging other people to share the situations. We are like pushing people so they can get out of the situations. And we know it's very difficult for us to leave a place that we've been living for a long time. Like the mom that shared the story, she has to live in 30 days. it's very important for us to support each other. It's important for us to talk about the situations that we're going through. That's just what I wanted to say. Thank you, Denise, and thank you all of you for being here in this meeting. And that's it. That's all I had to say.
Oh, thank you, Yolanda, one more time for sharing your story. A little bit. I know this is just a very short version. And thank you for your leadership, for all your work that you do in our community. So talking about leadership, last year, we as a community took time to learn about the city budget and what it means to our city, especially to the most vulnerable ones in our community, and how can we influence the mayor and city councilors' decisions. And together with that, we learn about the city free cash. And so just a quick recap on what is a free cash, what it means for our city. So free cash is a term used for a revenue source that results from a calculation of a community's remaining unrestricted funds from its operations of the previous fiscal year. In this case here, this free cash that I'm about to share tonight is from the fiscal year of 2022. This money comes from property taxes. Cities and towns generally use free cash to support current year operations or to provide a revenue source for the ensuing year's budget. However, free cash is not available for use until it is certified by the Director of Accounts. The city of Somerville had a forecast of 25 million in free cash for the fiscal year 2022. However, it was waiting for its certification. Having that in mind, members of the Somerville Renters Committee sat down with Mayor Ballantyne last September and shared the need for more housing programs in our community. We asked her to commit 30% of the free cash amount to housing programs. She listened and seemed eager to invest more in housing. However, we were still waiting for this money, for the free cash, to be certified. Well, folks, the waiting is finally over. Last week, the City of Somerville Finance Committee had a meeting, and the finance director, Mr. Ed Bean, reported that the free cash has been certified and the city of Somerville has a surplus of, can I get a little drum roll here? Drum roll, drum roll. $39 million. $39 million. That's the number, the amount of money that the city of Somerville, as of right now, have in their bank account to use in whatever they please. $14 million more than we anticipated. This is a load of free money for one city. And of course, every single department in our city now has their eyes in this money. And we here, we also have our eyes in this money. And now more than ever, we need to put pressure on Mayor Ballantyne to invest at least, and I'm not going to say 30% anymore. I'm going to say at least 30% of what we previously asked her. So to make this happen, we are organizing an advocacy hour for next week. We plan to write emails, letters, and send to her office. We need to do that before March 7. We are all finalizing the details. We will finalize the details by the end of this week because we do need to act fast and together. So I want to ask each one of you here to pay attention to emails or text messages, phone calls that you might receive from members of our team about that. And just one more thing, remember that our voices matter. Your voice matters. Sorry. Together, we do have the power to make a change, to awaken the senses and make our elected officials to do what is right for our community. So, in that note, now I'm going to pass to our Director of Community Organizing, Nicole, to talk more about leadership in our community.
Thank you so much, Denise. Thank you for spearheading so much of the budget and free cash advocacy of the Renters Committee over this last year. You've also been an incredible leader for us, and we feel your passion. And I hope everyone here, whether you're hearing about free cash for the first time, or if you've lived in Somerville for 10, 20 years, I hope you're ready to mobilize and organize with us, because it's really critical that in the next 2 weeks, we raise our voices so the mayor invests this money in the way that all of us really need it. So as Denise mentioned, my name is Nicole, and I am really proud to work at CAAS. And the last topic I wanted to talk about tonight is leadership. And so I think many of you who have been coming to renters meetings or volunteer in the Eviction Response Network, or maybe you're new to this space this evening, leadership is really at the heart of what we do at CAAS and our organizing. One of our core values at CAAS is that anyone can be a leader, and that your stories, your lived experiences, they all matter, and that can be a source of power for you. And the way organizing works is that when you bring people together and connect their stories under a shared vision and shared values for our community, that is how we build collective power to create change. And so I think tonight you've heard a couple of times we've mentioned the Somerville Renters Committee. And if you're new, you might be wondering, okay, what is this committee? And the Somerville Renters Committee is actually the tenant leadership group at CAAS. This is a beautiful, inspiring group of tenants here in Somerville who come from many class, racial, cultural, and linguistic backgrounds. And last spring in May, our members of the committee completed an intensive training called the Leadership Development Institute. So this is a photo of our graduating leadership development program participants. And we also refer to this program as the LDI. So I'm excited to announce that CAAS will be yet again offering the LDI this year, 2023. And this is an entirely free leadership program. CAAS covers all the costs. It includes food, multilingual interpretation, transportation reimbursements, and more as well. Oh, childcare and more. We want to make this program as easy as possible, and we want to inspire and train and motivate our next chapter of leaders here in our city. So, I am here to not only announce the start of the Leadership Development Institute recruiting period. If someone from the CAAS team could put the application in the Zoom chat, but I wanted to invite anyone here who might be interested in, taking this next step on your personal journey with CAAS and with your Somerville neighbors. We would love to have you join us. So you'll see on the slide here, applications to the LDI are open now, and you have to apply by March 24th. You could stop sharing the screen for a sec. I'll keep explaining a little bit more. So in terms of the training itself, it's going to be held across 4 sessions or 4 workshops. The first one will be on Zoom, and then the next 3 will be in person. And this training is designed for people with all levels of education and experience. And again, whether or not you view yourself as a leader or not yet, like we want you to be part of this, because each of the workshops covers topics such as, what are the skills and qualities of a strong leader? How do we build relationships, and why do they matter in organizing? Another topic is, how do we analyze power, and how do we exercise power as a community? And then, of course, we also have a session on how to make a local impact. So if you've also been especially interested in making change here in Somerville and potentially joining the Somerville Renters Committee with the members who are already on the committee, please apply. So, last year we had 16 residents graduate from this program, and we're hoping to have just as many this year. And you'll notice in the application that this year's dates, we are looking to hold the training in April. However, the dates are not 100% finalized. So even if you are not sure if your schedule will work with the training dates, please apply anyway. Because we want to make sure as many of our neighbors as possible can attend. And if a lot of people, can't do some of these dates, we will make an adjustment and, pick different dates. So that is my invitation to all of you. Please consider applying to LDI. The application is not very long. It just, it's information about your household and then answering 3 questions about the way you view leadership. So can I answer any questions? Okay, yeah, Bunny.
Yeah, thanks. This is wonderful. I opened up that link and I saw that there's a requirement to show proof of COVID vaccination, which I think is great. And I'm just curious if you're open to putting in a mask requirement to be inclusive of people who are immunocompromised or otherwise at high risk.
Yeah, Bonnie, thank you so much for raising that. CAAS currently does have a mask requirement for all of our public meetings. So that would continue into the LDI. Thank you so much for bringing that up. And we can update the application tomorrow to reflect that as well. But yeah, we continue to all wear masks except when eating or drinking. And we bring like our air filter, our HEPA air filters to our spaces. And last year during the program, like one of our staff actually ended up getting sick with COVID. And so we pivoted and we moved fully onto Zoom. And so those precautions will continue to be taken.
Awesome, thank you. And yeah, I think having it written out makes it easier to share with the disability community. And I'd love to be able to promote this. Thanks.
Amazing. Thanks, Bonnie. If someone on the CAAS team could make an internal note about that, that would be really helpful. Okay, I see Vitalina's question. Will the meetings be at the CAAS office? Thanks for the question, Vitalina. So as I mentioned, the first LDI session will be on Zoom, but then sessions 2, 3, and 4 will actually be at Connection Church in East Somerville at 149 Broadway Avenue. Reverend Jordan Harris, he's actually a member of the CAAS board. And I think some of you have been to Connection at this point. It's a really beautiful, welcoming space. And so that is where the in-person workshops will occur.
What time, please?
Hi, Marjorie. Yes.
I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. Thank you for asking. The details are in the application, but the Zoom session will be in the evening, the first meeting at 6:30. But then the in-person workshops will be from 9:15 a.m. to 1:30. So the program will include breakfast and lunch, and then plenty of snacks and lots of coffee.
What about for people who working in the morning? So if they want to participate, how can I participate?
Yeah, Marjorie, we would love to follow up with you separately about this. Please, if you're interested, go ahead and fill out the application. And if, the timing doesn't work for you because, some of the workshops will be on Saturday, just write that in your application and we will be sure to contact you to talk more about the details.
All right. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
And